regrets. I'm blessed to say the old me dead and gone away.
Hello and welcome. I'm Laon, a certified life coach and addiction recovery coach that teaches you manifestation so then you can manifest the life of your dreams. If you do need any help with one-on-one coaching services or custom subliminals or custom affirmations, check that all out at soulutionscoaching.org. It's in the drop box below. Guys, it has been forever since I made an actual video and not did a edited live that I post. So I really wanted to touch on a specific subject. I've been just chilling and taking time for myself and figuring out like how I can upgrade like my coaching and my own perspective about manifestation to make it easier and easier for you guys, because it actually is simplistic and I want to make it even more simplistic for you. So I've just been taking time to myself, really picking my own brain about like my own belief systems and becoming as limitless as I possibly can as a coach for you guys, so then you guys can become the most limitless version of yourself as well. So the topic that I wanted to dive into today is about movement. Everybody is looking for movement in their 3D reality, which is fine. That's okay, right? We want our manifestation. We want to see the unfolding of it. And what I've noticed in the community is like associating ourselves or identifying as a version of us that's constantly needing movement, right? Instead of being the version of us of having our actual desire, we're becoming the version of us that's looking for movement, that's watching and judging our 3D circumstances, or judging our 3D if there are no circumstances, nothing's showing up, right? And why I wanted to touch on this is because if we're identifying in that state, then guess what? We're going to continue to have more results of not having our full manifestation and continue to have results of I'm still looking for movement and maybe it's a partial manifestation, maybe I'm not going to get it, yada, 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 right? We don't want to identify with that anymore. We want to identify as the version of us that has it, right? And the way that we do that is everything in our 3D, we make a decision that somehow, some way, this is leading me to my manifestation. Even if it looks really ugly, and you might not even be able to fathom how the hell this is going to get you your manifestation. But in that moment, you still decide somehow, some way, it's going to give me my manifestation. This is just part of the bridge. It's the unfolding. However it needs to unfold. I don't care how ugly it may look. I'm still going to identify as the version of me that has it. And I know because I continue to do that and return to that state, return to that decision, that regardless of what my 3D is looking like, I know that it's somehow, some way going to get me my manifestation. Because if my 3D is a reflection of me and I'm continuing to hold the state, continue to return to that state, right? That hold that identity of I already know who I am. I already know the manifestation's mine, right? If I'm this version of me, then it has to be reflected, right? It's a guarantee that it has to be reflected. Not that you have to be perfect and catch every single thought, but it's holding space for yourself in what you're experiencing. Be like, okay, yeah, no, I acknowledge you, but I'm not going to attach myself to you. I'm not going to take this personally. I'm not going to say, oh, that means I'm not going to get what I want. If I think these thoughts, if I think in fear, if I'm experiencing something that looks opposite or crazy, I'm going to take blinders to all that and just say, no, right? Acknowledge it. Okay, that's old reality, but I'm going to put my focus over here. I'm going to put my focus on me, on my new identity. And because I'm doing that and returning to that state of having, all of this shit's going to go away. All of this shit's going to change because I'm no longer attached to it. I'm attached to my new version of self. So I'll give you some examples of this. And it's not delusional. Like a lot of people would be like, oh, you're being delusional, whatever. It's not, okay? Our imagination is more real than the 3D reality that we will ever experience. Even though it might feel like the 3D is more real, it's because we're so attached to it. That's the only reason why it feels more real. So if we start to play in our imagination a lot more and familiarize ourselves with how powerful the imagination actually is, we'll start to associate ourselves with, wait, this is more real. Our internal world is way more real, right? But we have to play in our imagination, right? Really start to put the focus on us, take the focus off the 3D for us to have that shift, right? And to really know who we are in our God selves. So a couple examples is, say you notice a specific person posting on social media, and it might be something maybe unfavorable, whatever. You could give it the meaning, well, that's unfavorable, they're posting this, and I don't know why they would even post that, and that's so fucked up, and they knew I was going to see it. We could go into that rampage of shit, of what we don't want. Or what I recommend, or what I did when I was manifesting a specific person, is, oh, they're posting for my attention. They're posting because they want me to see it. They're posting because they want me to say something. I'm not going to say anything. I'm not even going to like it. I'm going to acknowledge, yeah, no, I saw it. I know for a fact you're posting to get my attention. You're doing it for me because you want me. You want my attention. I'm going to keep it moving, right? I'm not going to validate my 3D. Tell a story of what I do want. You're posted for my attention. Done deal. Okay, fine. Move on. So that is one example of where you can look at the 3D, regardless of what it is. If it's positive, it's negative, or if it's in between, you're not really sure, just decide, you're posted for my attention. Because obviously, you want to be with me, so why wouldn't you post for my attention? Why wouldn't you want my attention? I'm an amazing person. Go into that story, right? If there's other movement, say in your 3D, or here you go, the lack of movement. Say you're not seeing anything in your 3D. Well, we can either say, well, I'm not getting any movement, and why is this happening? I've been doing techniques, and going into that spiral like we've normally done. I've done it before. I know I have. When I first started. I see it very often with my clients. So instead of doing that, what we can do instead is, well, I know that they're thinking about me because I'm thinking about them, and I'm thinking about myself, and I'm thinking about how amazing I am. And I'm thinking about how beautiful I am, and how I am the total package. There's nobody else like me. Because I'm thinking these things, I know that my 3D is a reflection of me, so I know that my SP must be thinking these things, and how, I check off all the boxes. I'm the total package. I'm so amazing. I'm beautiful. I'm smart, funny. You can go into that story, right? That this is what they're thinking. And if you think about it, when you think about somebody, we'll say an example. You're thinking about your specific person and all the things that you love about them, all the characteristics that they have that you admire, and their personality, and you're thinking about them. Doesn't that make you want to reach out to them? Doesn't that make you love them more? Well, if it makes you feel like that, then when your specific person is thinking about you in that same way, because you're deciding that's what they're thinking, right? When you're seeing no movement, you're deciding, well, they're thinking about me in a loving way anyways, right? We're making that decision. So you automatically quantum jump into that reality where that's the truth, right? Where they're thinking about you. Well, because you were thinking about them, remember the example of I was thinking about them and how loving they are, I made you want to contact them. Well, for them, they're thinking about you because you've decided that. So of course they're going to want to reach out to you, right? It's a natural thing that when you love someone and you're admiring them and you think that they're beautiful and amazing and you're just contemplating everything about them, what do you want to do? Talk to that person, be around that person, right? So again, you give everything meaning. Those are just two examples, right? You just decide what you do want instead, and stop focusing on the lack of movement or the fact of it's not exactly what you want to see in the 3D. Decide what you want to see in the 3D. Decide to be that version of self, right? That's all that we have to do. And understand, because I'm changing within, because I'm focusing on this new version of self, my 3D at some point has to match that. Even if it goes a little sideways. Okay, cool, fine. Let it go sideways. I acknowledge you. Your old story playing out. Okay, cool. I know that the movie has to end at some point, and another movie has to begin, right? The end of one chapter, a new chapter begins, right? Think about it from that perspective. So allow your 3D to do whatever it needs to do. Detach from it. Recognize, hey, okay, that's old story playing out. I'm going to focus on self. I'm going to continue to identify as the version of me and give everything the meaning that somehow, some way, even though I might not understand it, somehow, some way, I'm going to still get what I want. Somehow, some way, this means I'm getting what I want. They're posting for my attention. They're thinking about me, and because they're thinking such loving thoughts about me, of course they're going to reach out, because I've experienced that myself. When I think about somebody, I want to reach out to them, right? And again, you just give the meaning of what you do want, and stop being so logical with your 3D and think, oh my God, this is happening to me, and recognize this is happening from me. right? I decide. So who are you identifying as? And once you recognize who you're identifying as, it's about returning to that identity, returning to that decision. It might take practice to look at your 3D and not take it personally. I get that. I know it took me practice. But through the practice and the repetition of, wait, this is actually working for me. This is actually just playing out. I don't know how, but somehow, some way, I'm learning something here, or it's getting me my manifestation, I'm expanding my consciousness, whatever it is that's happening in the 3D. I'm going to give it the meaning, somehow, some way, I'm getting my manifestation. And defining the movement that you are getting or aren't getting as, I'm still getting what I want, right? It's really that freaking simple, guys. So stop holding yourself back and thinking that everything has to be so logical. Throw that shit in the garbage. Just smack my hand. Throw that shit in the garbage. It don't belong here in the manifestation community. It don't belong in our internal world. No, it might try to be there. It doesn't belong. So throw it out. Okay? So if you do want any help with this, again, coaching in the description box below. All of that's there, and I'm going to start banging out a lot more content and more from a limitless point of view. I'm going to be switching some things up. I'm going to really start investing in like coaching, investing in content, and really starting to change your guys' perspective about manifestation, because I've noticed this community is getting flooded. It's getting flooded with limiting beliefs. It's getting flooded with law of attraction people saying that they're law of assumption people. And I'm over it, okay? I'm completely over it. So I'm gonna start pushing content out there so then we can really just nip this shit in the butt, work on my own beliefs about the community being flooded, and, you know, help us all be as limitless as we possibly can and expand our consciousness in ways that we never thought was even possible. So as always, guys, thank you for being here. I truly appreciate you guys and look forward to a whole bunch of new content. If you want to like this video because it resonated with you, that way other people can see it as well and it can resonate with them, please do me a favor. If you have any comments or questions or you have any other video ideas, comment them down below. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell icon because I do have new content coming out and you don't want to miss it, right? So as always, guys, you got this.
We'll be right back.